All right, what's good, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, all right? All right, so Fury beat Wilder last night, and the trilogy is done. The whole Wilder saga is done. Fury retains his WBC title, and we know that Usyk is now currently holding the WBA, WBO, IBF titles that he picked up from Joshua. Now, let's just say if these two eventually meet for an undisputed fight. There are still other fights that need to take place. Usyk needs to rematch Joshua first, and Fury needs to defend his WBC title against the mandatory, who's going to be the winner of Dillian White and Otto Wallin. All right, so we still have ways to go. I don't see an undisputed fight happening no earlier than the end of next year. All right, I don't see it happening. But if Fury retains his title against his mandatory, and if Usyk beats Joshua in the rematch and these guys actually meet in the ring, what do I think? All right. Well, a few things. It really depends on what version of Tyson Fury we get. All right. And when I say that is, I don't believe that the Tyson Fury that beat Deontay Wilder the last two fights is some guy that's going to beat Oleksandr Usyk. All right. Fury had to sacrifice a lot in order to come in that heavy. All right. Yes, he wanted to get the stoppage. Yes, he went to the Crunk gym and came in switching his style, was more aggressive, put pressure on Wilder. All right. Had a large size advantage over Deontay Wilder, and was putting a lot of power down. But he had to sacrifice his speed, his agility, his defense, even his stamina, his conditioning was good, but we weren't getting the same amount of volume that we normally could. He was trying to make every punch count, which worked out for him because he was able to stop Wilder twice, right? But against Usyk, Usyk is different, all right? Fury won't be able to just lean on him like the way he was able to lean on Deontay Wilder. First of all, Usyk fights extremely well on his back foot. All right. Usyk might not hit as hard as Wilder. All right. But he has a much better arsenal overall. He's a much better boxer overall. He has better angles. He's quicker. He moves better. He's a better defender. He's a better counter puncher. He has a lot more weapons in his game, right? As a boxer, he's a more complete fighter, and he's not going to and his cardio is at the best that we've seen. We saw that against AJ. Usyk was fighting the same way in round 12 as he was fighting in the very first round in that fight, even after taking damage. Usyk took a lot of damage in that fight, taking big hits from Anthony Joshua, and Usyk was able to still beat and outscore Anthony Joshua without too much of a problem. All right. So with that all being said, the version that we got from Tyson Fury last night does not beat Oleksandr Usyk. But in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, the version of Fury that beat Vladimir Klitschko beats Oleksandr Usyk. Now, I personally believe that he should stay with Javon Sugar Hill, because I think Fury can definitely go right back into that style of, just being slicker like the way he was against Klitschko. Just outscoring Klitschko, all right? Using that height, using that rage, all right? And just outpointing Klitschko. Klitschko was confused. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't get to Tyson Fury. And I do think Oleksandr Usyk can do better than what Klitschko did, right? I think Oleksandr Usyk at this point was better than Klitschko on that night. But Usyk has to work so much harder to get the Fury than he had to do against AJ. Because unlike AJ, Fury actually knows how to use his height and his reach and his legs much better than AJ. AJ gave all of those size, the size and the reach, all of those advantages, he gave them away You know, he fought lower, he fought closer, and he fought and stood right in front of Usyk. You know, and tried to beat Usyk at his own game. And I thought that was a big mistake because we all knew that Usyk was the better boxer. I thought AJ would use his size in order, even though he slimmed down, you know, I thought he would use his size in order to beat Usyk, you know, or at least make an adjustment mid-fight. Oh, excuse me. So, with all that being said, I think Tyson Fury wins because if Fury is coming in maybe in the 250s, maybe not 247, you got to understand Fury was in the best shape of his career when he fought Klitschko. All right, I don't know if he could get down to 247, but if he at least stays around the 255 area, right, he'd still be much bigger than Usyk. If Usyk is coming around 220 where he came against Joshua, which was his heavier weight, Fury will still be much bigger than Usyk. But for his size, he'll be more agile. You know, his stamina, his volume will be greater. But he can also switch and put pressure and put power down too, because he's still a much bigger man and he's been training with Sugar Hill in the Crunk Gym. So he can do a little bit of both. See, what happened in this fight with Wilder and what gave Fury so much trouble, because he was so big, when it was time for Wilder to be more aggressive and attack Fury at this point and these earlier rounds in this third fight, he had to go back to fighting on his back foot, where he wasn't as good. He wasn't able to move and slip the shots as good because he's a heavier man. You know, so the game plan is full offense, which worked out for him, but he almost cost them the fight because Wilder is now landing shots that he probably wouldn't have landed if Fury was in the 250s still. The defense wasn't as good as it was in the past. So this is why I'm saying Fury from last night would lose to Oleksandr Usyk, the Usyk that beat Joshua a couple weeks ago. Usyk could just be good, too quick, too sharp, stepping in and out, and not allowing himself to get leaned on. Fury would be an easy target for him. So Fury would need to come down, cut some of that weight, be quick, be able to box, and be able to make adjustments if he has to. We need a Fury that switches from southpaw to orthodox. All right, we need a Fury that can use angles and work on the inside. All right, keep this guy out of range when he chooses to. Want to pressure when he chooses to. Want to switch stances when he chooses to. We need a Fury that can do everything that Fury is capable of doing in order to beat Usyk. We can't be the Fury that's it's a little bit limited because he's so heavy and he can't move the same way. He was slower. He was easier to hit. We can't see that Fury against Usyk. Usyk would outscore him. This is part of the reason why. And I'm not saying, apologize. I'm not saying that Usyk can't beat that guy. You know, I've lost my thought, but I'm not saying that Usyk can't beat him even if he's slimmer. He might be able to, but Fury's chances are greater if he's lighter. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. So that's my stance on it. You know, obviously it'll be a long time until we get to this point, but since these two are the guys that's holding about, before it used to be about Wilder and Joshua. Those two don't hold the titles no more. All right, we don't even know if those two are ever going to fight. With that being said, we have to discuss Usyk and Fury because those are the two dudes that are currently holding the titles, and that's my early views on that fight. All right, it really depends on Fury. We need lighter Fury, and Usyk. You know, Usyk is Usyk. Usyk is going to come the same way every time. All right. So anyway, that's my views on it. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments because I definitely want to hear what you got to say. In fact, I plan on doing a poll on this fight. So be on the lookout. I'm going to do a poll on the fight And I want to hear, definitely vote. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a poll up today. I'll do that today. I'll do that the very next thing today. Make sure you guys put your votes in because I want to hear what you guys feel, how that fight would go if it were to ever go down. And definitely give me views on what version Fury needs to come in. Let me know everything. Just comment on the fight, and I'll see you guys on the next one.